Hey guys, this kind of video is frequently split into two individual ones, but I figured for my RS7 I would just combine it into one, the things that I love and hate about the RS7. But before we get started with today's video, we have to thank Best Tech for sponsoring it. They're running this really cool program where you can get a massive range of products, ranging from a portable power bank to a blender, all for 1 penny. It was a funny coincidence that they reached out because this is unrelated to them reaching out about this program. I actually already had a Best Tech product, this 12-volt power splitter. I use it to charge my phone and run my radar detector. I know it's kind of messy with the wires. Eventually, I will hardwire in my radar detector, but I've had a Best Tech product already in my car using the S4 and in this RS7. The way the program works is you pick something you want and you share it with your friends and you get people to sign up, and that in turn cuts the price down. On average, it takes between 5 to 30 people to cut the price down to 1 penny. New users would cut it a little bit more than regular users, and it also depends on how much the product itself costs, but eventually you can get it down to 1 penny. So you kind of pick what you want, you share it, and if you don't make it down to 1 penny when time expires, you can still purchase it at a discounted price. So pick what you want on the website. The link is below in the description. Share it with your friends and go and get something cool. So the Audi RS7, I love this car. I mean, I chose it, I bought it, obviously. It's my personal vehicle, but nothing is absolutely perfect. There will be things that aren't great, but then there are some things that counteract that and make it really awesome. So let's start talking about that. I'm going to start with some of the more negative side of things. There aren't many huge ones there, so then we'll get to the positive things. The first thing that I dislike and border upon hate about the RS7 are the brakes. So they perform great, they're really great brakes, but the downside is the noise. They make a lot of noise, they squeal. And this is a common issue that a lot of people experience with this car. It also happens a bit on the S6, S7. But I mean, it's a performance vehicle with performance brakes, and the main problem is semi-metallic pads. Those little pieces of metal, when they end up in contact with the rotor, they will squeal and make noise. It happens on brand new rotors and pads, cars that have barely any miles. If you swap in brand new rotors and pads, it happens on these cars. It's well documented. A lot of people have experienced that. And the other thing is they generate a ton of dust. They are a softer compound, which allows you to brake better, but I just cleaned these wheels so they look somewhat nice, but I mean, they get coated in dust. Swapping to a different type of pad compound will help. The other thing is they don't last that long. This is a large 4,500 pound sedan that has a lot of power, that can get going really quickly, and you need powerful brakes to stop it. But as a result, you can wear through them pretty quickly. Some people, 30,000 miles, as low as 20,000 miles, will require new pads and possibly new rotors. The rotors are really thin. The actual usable thickness is pretty thin, and you cannot machine them. If you do, they'll end up warping, which is what happened to one of my friend's RS7s. You will notice, though, it's got the wave kind of scallop design to it. So Audi RS models and I think R8, some of the higher end performance models get that. Supposedly you get weight savings, which is unsprung weight, so that does help, but also better heat dissipation from greater surface area. So the brakes are, I mean, it's part of the ownership cost of having one of these. It's a maintenance thing. But regardless of that, the noise can get a little bit irritating. I personally am going to try a couple different options to mitigate that noise without giving up the braking performance that a vehicle like this requires. The next one is seating. So 2 seats up front, obviously. If you check out the rear seats, it's only got 2. In the middle, we have the center console thing. You can push it down here, but it's got 2 seats on either side. You do not have the bench option, which I find a little bit strange. It happens on all these like so-called 4-door coupe, 4-door sedan type of things. A7, S7, RS7, and even on the other German brands. You look at a CLS or a 6 Series Grand Coupe, they all become 4-seaters, whereas the regular sedan counterparts, a A6, a 5 Series, or E-Class, you still get 3 seats out back. Now, for me personally, it's not a huge deal, but I could see it being a deal breaker for somebody with a family. Let's just say they have multiple kids, 3 kids, 2 parents. You need a 5-seater for your sedan. That could be a deal breaker, and I find it kind of strange. I mean, I know this car is inherently supposed to be less practical, I guess, than the regular sedan, but I don't really quite know why they got rid of the middle seat. I know it's not the most comfortable one, but for someone with a family, that could be a significant problem. Next up is kind of why I've got this kind of mess of cables going on over here. There aren't a lot of power points in this car, just a typical 12-volt kind of cigarette lighter type of thing. for plugging in your phone charger or your radar detector. You've got this little cubby space up here, which is a mess of cables right now. Nothing in there. There's nothing underneath the glove box. On my i8 and the BMW, there was actually another one hidden down in there. The only one up front, you've got cup holders here, is in the center console. You've got it right here. And then you've got some USB charging ports there, but frequently I've discovered that plugging into the USB charging port and still utilizing your device actually causes it to like still lose charge. So they're not strong enough. And then you actually have two in the back here. Let's see if I can show you guys here. If you open up, come on, there we go. There's two down in here, but that's all the way back. You don't want to run a cable all the way there. It could work for your rear passengers, but I would not want to run a cable all the way through here. So that's a little bit of a downside. I will end up hardwiring my radar in, but if you need a lot of power points, I don't know why they seem to miss out on it. I believe I was in a S6 that had one in the front, so not sure how going to RS7 version they got rid of that. The last issue with the RS7, the thing that I dislike the most about it, is probably also the most major one. It has to do with the engine. So this has a 4-liter twin-turbo V8, found in RS7, S6, S7, A8. This engine has a current issue where there are these little oil screens leading to the turbos. It can get clogged with debris, at which point you could starve the turbos of oil, which causes the turbos to blow. It's happened a couple times on the forums. If you search it, you'll find it. I believe the issue has been blown a little bit out of proportion. People are obviously scared of that because if that happens, that is a $10,000 job easily. There are new revisions. There's a TSB out. There are new revisions to that oil screen. Some people have tried DIY things. The easiest way to combat that so far that kind of has been agreed are 5,000 mile interval oil changes, which I am doing. Some people are running like cleaner interval type of things. They pull the screens to check. It's kind of complicated to get to those screens, but maintaining a warranty will help that. Some people do an extended warranty. It's something to take into account. It's not RS7 specific. It is Audi 4.0 twin turbo V8 specific, which is in a lot of different cars actually. Now, I knew about this when I was buying the car. I didn't dislike it enough that it would turn me away, but it's something to be aware of, and I would consider it a downside to it, and I guess some people would hate it about the car because if your turbos might explode, that could be something you hate. But some people, what happens, it happens to their S6, S7, turbos blow, and they throw RS7 turbos on it, make these things really fast. The first thing about the RS7 that I love the absolute most is the all-around capability. This thing has performance and luxury without significant compromises in either direction. So performance-wise, it is an absolute beast of a car. I love this 4.0 V8, despite some of the minor issues with it. It is a monster of a power plant. We'll throw the car in dynamic, and it makes 560 horsepower in this car, and in performance trim it makes 605 horsepower, but oh, it is a mountain of torque. It always is pulling. It sounds good. It makes so much power, and it's an absolute beast. I could talk about the performance of the RS7 for hours. If you keep it stock, it's already a monster. Modification-wise, a Stage 1 tune. I have a friend with an APR Stage 1 on his RS7. He V-Box, GPS verified, launching 0 to 60 in 3 seconds flat. Bolt-ons, tunes, some mild modifications. This thing is a 10-second quarter-mile car, and breaking into the 10s while weighing 4,500, 4,600 pounds, seating 4 comfortably, and having a big hatch in the back for storage. It's amazing. So the performance is crazy. It can handle while you're thrown in dynamic mode. If you get it with DRC, dynamic ride control, like the Performance does, or the dynamic package equipped vehicles, they can handle a lot better, eliminating body roll. It's a luxury sedan that doesn't sacrifice on performance. Now, the luxury side of things, I love the way this car rides, and it was a big factor in why I chose it. I like my daily driver to ride comfortably. We live in Michigan, and the roads suck, and my S4 is a little bit firm. Even on 21-inch wheels, air suspension-equipped RS7s are really quite smooth. I noticed this when I was using a friend's RS7 to film some chase shots. We were reviewing a car, doing rolling B-roll, and we just put a camera in the back, left the hatch slightly open, and drove, and it was so smooth. It looked like it was like an S-Class almost, so you get almost like full dedicated luxury sedan levels of comfort in terms of ride quality while still getting that crazy performance I was just talking about. We also have to talk about the looks. styling, one of probably the biggest draws for somebody who wants to purchase an RS7. Just the A7 itself kind of came into existence because people wanted a more stylish looking sedan type vehicle. They didn't want the boring kind of conventional styled A6. RS7 is amazing. I mean, I think this generation, the mid-cycle refresh C7.5 generation, is aging perfectly. The updated headlights and taillights make it look very modern. You get that swooping roof line. I love mine in Nardo Gray. It's a very unique color on the big 21-inch wheels with the, I guess that's a complaint. The design of the wheels isn't that unique because I see like Honda Civics and stuff with that same like angular directional blade looking thing. I'm like, oh, what the heck? So I will have to get different wheels for the car. But overall, I think RS7 styling looks amazing. An aggressive front, the kind of front carbon blades, the big mesh blacked out grille. I think the looks has got to be one of my favorite parts of this car. Every single time I park it, I always have to turn around and look at it or take a couple pictures of it, which my girlfriend frequently complains that, why did they take the picture of the car every time? Well, Instagram, got to post it. So I love the way the RS7 looks. Performance, practicality, usability, it's so great. It's you can do that, and oh my god, it's an absolute beast of a car. So the things I love about my RS7 far outweigh the things that I dislike. Now, the kind of the seat thing, that doesn't really matter to me. The places to plug in electronic devices, you can live with that. I have one, I have a splitter. I will hardwire my radar in. The turbo oil screen is probably, like I said, the biggest concerning type of thing, and there are ways to look after that. That could become an issue, but an extended warranty would take care of all of that. I chose this car over many other options. I used to really love the M6 Grand Coupe, but I think the RS7 is a better car now. As a vehicle with all-wheel drive, I can drive this in the snow. It's my only car, my daily driver. It's much more versatile. It's held value also a lot better. If you look at a equivalent M6 CLS 63 or an RS7, the RS7 will cost slightly more than the other two options out there. I love this car. It's great, but there are some things that I dislike about it, some downsides to it, which I mentioned we talked about. But overall, love it. If you guys have any questions about an RS7, owning one, thinking about purchasing one, comment below or send me an email or a message. Always happy to answer. Thanks for watching.